Happy St. Patrick's Day! And if you're watching this, that means that you have gotten one of our 4-leaf clover craft kits. And it makes something like this, a little hanging decoration that says Lucky, and it's got puzzle pieces, and it's just a really cute little decoration for your St. Patrick's Day door or wall, whatever you want it. So if you have gotten our kit, we are going to go over what's inside of it. So this is what your kit should look like, and it should come with one of these little boards, these little cardboard boards. Now you can actually use a canvas if you want, and that's actually what I'm going to use today to show you how we do it. But your board is more pliable and able to have holes drilled in it. So if you want it to hang, you want to use one of these, and it's bigger, and you know. So back to our kit. This is what our kit looks like. And inside, you should have a bunch of little goodies. So you should have a good handful or two of puzzle pieces. And the puzzle pieces should be a dark green, a light green, and a white. And you should have roughly 75 maybe, give or take. And that should be plenty for your shamrock. Next, you should have a piece of paper with your shamrock shape on it, or your 4-leaf clover. And you'll want to keep this so that you can make your shape. Next, you have instructions. So if you want to follow along, you can just read our instructions, or you can set them aside and just watch me show you how to do it. Next, you have the letters in the word Lucky, and you want that too, because whether you decide to cut out the shapes and glue them on or trace them, you're going to want them to make sure you have an even shape of letters. Next, you're going to have your little hat, and this is printed on cardstock, so it's much sturdier than just regular copy paper, and I will show you what to do with that. Next, you want a ribbon, and it's just a green ribbon that you're going to string through your holes in your board to hang. Finally, you're going to have your paint and this little piece of paper. And so this little piece of paper says, "Save me." If you have leftover paint, as long as the lid is on tight, you can keep the paint for another project. And this paint should keep for a good while, as long as the lid is secure on top. And if you want to make sure that it's even more shelf stable, you can put a little bit of plastic wrap on the top of the paint before you close the lid, and it should keep any air from settling on the paint, and you should be able to keep it for another project, which I think you should. Alright. Next are the materials that are not provided, but you will need for this project. So you're going to need a paper towel or an old rag, and I'm using an old towel just to, reuse. Next are some paintbrushes. I have 2 different sizes, I have a large and a small. You don't need both sizes, but I like having 2, one for smaller details and one for just the whole painting in general. Next, for me, I'm going to be using a paper plate to pour paint on, but since you have cups, you don't really need to worry about that unless you're wanting to paint these a different color or use this board for something else. Finally, you're going to want a cup of water to clean your brushes off. And you're probably wondering, Paige, what's floating in your water? It is actually a little paint nub thing that suction cups to the bottom of my reusable mason jar, and it helps clean my brushes to keep them extra clean and get the paint, all the paint out. And you want to make sure you get all the paint out of your brushes, because the more paint that's in your brushes, the harder your brushes are going to dry, and then they become unusable. So you want to take care of your paint brushes. And so that is what is in my jar, other than water. I have a canvas because I'm actually going to be showing you how to do it on a canvas. So let's get started. Alright, let's get started. So first you want to paint your board or canvas white, which I've already actually done. But if you are painting your board, please keep in mind that your board will most definitely need 2 coats at least of white paint. This board is going to soak up a lot of the paint, and it's going to do it very quickly. So I have provided a lot of paint, and you want to make sure that you get at least 2 coats onto the board. And when you're applying those 2 coats, paint the first coat, let it dry completely, and then go back and paint the second coat. So our next step is actually going to be to cut out our 4-leaf clover, so that way we have the design readily available for us to trace. So let's do that. Alright, now we have our 4-leaf clover, and you want to put it on your board where you want it. On mine, I have put it about in the middle, but lower, a little bit lower down, so I have enough room for the lucky. On my canvas, I'm just going to put it near the very bottom. And then you start tracing. Don't forget your pencil, because you need it. And it doesn't have to be a perfect trace, because you are going to be painting over those lines. So it really doesn't matter how messy it is. Alright, so now we have our little shape and we can paint. So I'm going to take my big brush and my green paint and just start painting. Okay, so now that I have my 4-leaf clover painted, I'm going to stick my paintbrush in its water and get it all clean, and I'm going to move on to our lucky letters. So you have two choices here. You can either cut them out and glue them on, which requires glue, obviously, and if you want it to shine and stay on, you're going to need Mod Podge, which is a kind of glue that people use in art projects. Or you can cut them out, trace them like we did our 4-leaf clover, and then paint them on. And that's what we're going to do today. So let's cut. Alright, so now that we have cut out our Lucky, we are going to put them on our canvas and trace them. Now, you are going to have plenty of room to trace Lucky onto your board because you want it to be big. I, on the other hand, am not going to have that much room, but we'll make it work. I can always make it work. Alright, let's start tracing the Y. Alright, and just like that, we have Lucky. Alright, let's paint it. So you are going to be painting it black. Now, you can paint this any color you want. You can paint it green, or white, or light green, or any color you want, because this is your painting and you have to like it. Okay, so just like the green, you may want a second coat. I definitely will want to paint a second coat, but I want to let it dry first. And while it's drying, we're going to move on to our final step. And that is to put all of our puzzle pieces onto our canvas. Sorry, that was really crinkly. Alright, so for this there is no rhyme or reason. It's really just how you want it. And I forgot to mention earlier, you do need glue. And you want something a little bit more permanent than Elmer's glue. Maybe like a tacky glue or a super glue, but with super glue, always be careful to not glue your fingers together, and if you are a child doing this, try and get your parents to help you. So how you are going to start gluing it is you can either start in a corner in a section and put a layer of glue down and start just putting random pieces there, or you can put glue on the back of each of your pieces. Either way works perfectly fine. So you just want to start laying and overlapping. You can do one layer and then work up from that, or you can just do kind of a random spread. But you do want to make sure that you don't get too many of the same colored pieces onto one side. There are more of some colors than others, and that's fine. You just kind of want to make sure everything gets evenly spaced. And you want, to make sure you have dark on the bottom and on the top layers. This is just a fun little puzzle activity, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And I'm losing puzzle pieces. And then you just want to start building on top of your other layer of pieces. And I am not actually going to be putting any pieces on our stem because I want the petals to be as full as they can possibly be. But you are more than welcome to. Just know that you may not have as many full petals as you want, or as mine looks. Okay, so once you have all of your puzzle pieces on your 4-leaf clover, the most important part of this whole thing is to let it dry completely. Don't touch it, don't pick it up, don't try and hang it, don't sit it up, straight like this. You want to make sure it is dry completely. So let it dry overnight, and then you are good to go to start hanging it, or if you used a canvas to display it somehow. Okay, our final step is to put the holes through the top and to cut out and glue on your hat. So you just want to cut out your hat and then glue it to the corner of your board, and then let that dry. And then you want to, I use just a pair of scissors to just put holes on, 2 holes on my board, and then I, with one end, twirled the ribbon just like so to make it small, and then I threaded it through the hole, and I did that for both sides, and then I tied them together in the bag. And then you can cut off any extras, and just like that you have a beautiful little St. Patrick's Day decoration. And that's how you make our little lucky hanging decoration. I hope you had a great time with me today, and I hope to see you at a different program soon.